talk about where we're going to see these two Enigmas do battle. It's going to be here on Oregon with Tactical Banditry starting out on attack. Now, Oregon is the newest entity here in competitive Rainbow Six Siege, and the attacking meta really hasn't evolved into something that we see most maps have, which starts to lead them just a little bit defender-sided. So how will this fare out throughout this day? Well, we'll have to find out.
We will have to find out here, and it's interesting taking TB here. They decided they had the choice of going to, Cafe or Oregon as they had the last choice here, and instead they elected to go to the new map of Oregon, where nothing has been really set in stone here. But we're gonna swap over to the stats and look at the new roster here of InControlNation. And I don't know about you, Chief, but this roster is looking pretty spicy.
This is probably the best roster that's ever entered in SCL, maybe other than the Oblivion roster that's currently doing a wonderful job in CL. But it's going to be Yusuke, Bone, GXD, Kojin, and Mello subbing out today. But it's the billionaire himself, Sherb, who would normally be playing, but unable to play out today. And honestly, this roster is stacked beyond belief. You have the Season 3 MVP, you have the Season 3 best support player, and you have the highest rated player in regular season. I don't know how any team is going to be able to shut this down. I would be absolutely terrified to play against that. We'll have to see if and how TB elects to do that.
And speaking of TB, here comes the roster of them and these bad boys coming in. We're going to have Confused, Cupcakes, Ghost, Hobson, and Lean here for TB. And we have a lot more to see on this team as they have been playing for the past few weeks here. But we haven't seen anything from InControlNation, as we said. And both of these teams look to be very powerful. TB has had 2 wins and 1 loss here. And that 1 loss came in all 12 rounds. Actually, every single match, as I look back here, for Tactical Banditry has gone to all 12 rounds, every single one. So, Chief, we could be seeing another all 12 round match here coming for these two teams.
Well, VL, I want exactly that. I'm so eager to see how these teams play up, and both these rosters have wonderful support staffs behind them. On the side of INC, it's Dash and Hawk. On the side of TB, it's Amanda. So we're going to have to see how the support staff also clashes in this lobby, because remember, it's more than just the 10 players that are currently playing. We're just going to wait on one more player to get in this lobby. Actually, he just joined, so let's get this party started. Week number 4, concluding right here, right now on Oregon.
Chief, what a better map to be put on than Oregon, the barn burner of the map, literally. And this is going to look a very, very strong map for two very, very potentially strong teams here. And dare I say, could this be the potential of being a super team in this league? It's very, very likely.
The only concern I have for INC right now is they haven't had a lot of time to play together as a roster. And we've been talking about the super team, and you might be remembering who they're from. Well, that was the old Unreal roster, and that team had to split ways for certain different reasons. But right now, it's going to be one of the best counter roamers removed. This was a strategy that they used to utilize back in the day, and it's still transpiring here on that new roster. Now, who will TB end up banning, though? It's most likely going to be a Thatcher or another hard breacher of some sort. We've seen a lot of Maverick bans here on Oregon, but tons of deliberation needed by TB, and it's going to be the Thatcher.
Makes sense here. We typically do see a Thatcher ban come in, especially on this map. We just usually see double hard breach completely taken off the board here on this map, because especially when you have a new map that has no set metas or even set site rotations, as we see teams go through possibly all 4 sites, we see a lot of teams just want to hinder the attack even more so they can understand what they're doing with their defense. But that very, very strong defender of Mira will not be put on the board here.
Well, you're referencing hindering the attackers, and in ANZ, we saw Clash used pretty much on every defensive sided site. in every defensive round to begin with. So will that happen here? She is currently not banned, as it's an echo removed for that secondary defender ban. And the thing with Oregon we're talking about in the pregame is the meta really hasn't evolved, and we've seen attacking rosters really struggle with that. So coming out of the gate, how will tactical Banditry elect to break this down? We see a lot of rosters end up pushing out through a bunker, but some teams try to do freezer. Each one of those attacking strategies have their problems though, and the big problem is utility. And especially when Jaeger Wamai is in full effect, we're gonna have to see how it actually pans out.
We will be seeing how this pans out. And we're going to see the 6th pick from a Lion to a Zofia, clearly wanting for that utility clear here. And we're also going to see the 6th pick from a Maestro to a Kaid. So another very, very strategical ploy here coming in from both teams. And we're going to start off here at the top floor site here in Kids Dorms. So the play here for an attack could be very, very straightforward. However, a defense here can find themselves on the front foot here if a attacking side is not careful.
Now, most of these teams elect to have a pretty much exclusive utility consumption right here on this north quarter that is Attic. And we've seen a lot of teams relegate 3 ADSs as well as all of those Wamai pancakes. And it forces the attackers to either brute force their way, or they're going to have to do a complete different take through the south side of the map and do a game's execute. And again, it comes down to really how much time you have prepared. And essentially, if TB realized all the utility is being placed on the north side of the map, they could do an early rotate around, which would also allow INC to move their utility. And that's something we've seen high-level teams do, realizing that the attack is coming from a different avenue and moving those deployable shields and ADSs accordingly.
We're going to see also what seems to be kind of a heavy Attic take here coming in for the attack. We also see, I believe that's GXD, yes, on the Wamai in Attic in case they want to push this to try and move them back a little bit more. If they do elect to push completely through Attic here, they're going to be met with a lot of resistance and pretty much funneled through completely as Mello just pre-fires through the stairs here, possibly seeing a drone here, but they know exactly where he is, so they're going to probably set up something for the flank watch here, as Lean will do with the gridlock here.
As we alluded to, it's going to be an initial north execute coming out by the attackers, but their first step is going to be trying to deal with the electric utility on that wall, pre-placed by Yusuke. Now the fortunate thing for Ghost, he can send his frag grenades, or he can go for a trick. And that's exactly what he's going for the latter of those options, trying to trick out this wall, and then relying on his teammates, most likely Cupcake, to send one of her breaching launchers downrange and open up that wall. That's exactly what happens, but now they're going to have to do the wall of utility, try to shut it down in some way if they want to be successful pushing north to south.
We're going to see a lot of Wamai cams being placed down. We also see 2 ADSs also put here. This is going to soak up a lot of utility, especially if they want to continually push through here. We're going to see basically a one-way smoke for us, if you like to look at it. And it's going to dissipate now, but we're going to see them just fully execute here on the north side. We don't see any rotates coming in here. We're also going to see the Wamai GXD is going to find a beautiful pick onto Cupcakes here. All of a sudden, that's one person down. That's your Zofia. That's a lot of your utility clear here. And we're just going to see plenty of this TB side just kind of stall out, it looks like, as GXD is going to fall back into Attic and maybe apply more pressure here.
The MVP of Season 3 is going to find 1 kill, but it's going to be the rush on through by TB. And will GXD be able to find any more kills in this round? It's a myriad of bullets going through that west wall. Confusing attack on a GXD. His impact in this round will now be nullified, as Phoenix is going to find a kill of his own, but INC is going to attack that back, as Kojin, the best rated support player in Season 3, is going to utilize those toxic babes appropriately and effectively. But it's going to be the reverse Uno card coming up by TD, as it's now a reverse and a double take on in. But they don't have a lot of time to make this execute happen. Ghost is going to get aggressive. He's going to attempt to find one, but his life is going to be sacrificed by his teammate. It's going to be his M249 saw in hand, and Mello, the substitute, is going to close us out round number 1 in favor of INC.
Well, nothing better to say there from a big blunder there coming in from, I believe that was Lean, who just net himself his own teammate there. And that was a pretty, I guess you could say, very winnable situation there for the attack of of TB there, because if you looked at it there, they were found themselves, I believe, in a 2v3 scenario, and you push yourself into the site, you push yourself just taking these gunfights here. Could they have possibly gone for the plant? Should they have gone for the plant? Maybe so, but when you're in that scenario, you kind of just have to think on your feet there, and Lean just wanted to pre-fire around the corner and find themselves maybe an extra frag to maybe get that plant down there, and he just catches his teammate in the back of the head.
I like that Tactical Banditry did a rotation late round to big window. The problem with that, though, it was just a little too late. If their rotation came down 15 seconds earlier, the crossfires would have established, and the bunker positions that InControlNation was holding, well, they would have been nullified because they would have had to rotate away. So it was a good decision. I'm glad that TB made the realization. It was just sadly too late. But that does say that TB has a good idea of making mid and post-round calls. That's probably one of the most important things, and the sign of a good IGL, to make adaptations on the fly. We see far too often at T3 level, IGLs are far too structured, only reading off their stat sheet and never really deviating from that. But TB is already making the adjustments, and that's something that InControlNation is going to have to be wary of moving forward.
They will have to be wary of it, as Cupcakes is just going to quickly move in here, as Bone is going to just apply a barricade to the top of the freezer stairs just to cover his tracks a bit more now. And we're going to see them just completely drone out this main floor here to make sure there's no roamers in their way here. Now, we're also going to see if we can hop over to blue, I believe it is. We see a massive setup here with two, I believe it's two Jaeger ADSs, the smoke, and possibly Ella charges there just to cover his tracks. Now, that's going to be a heavy setup here, assuming they even go towards blue. If not, INC could have just set that up completely for nothing.
Now, we have heard that INC likes some certain type of shield strategies. It's, again, determining exactly how those pan out here on Oregon. With the attackers slowly grabbing out their real estate, it's currently a fee-simple exchange. But the problem with this is they're not utilizing Oregon, at least the way you used to do it on the OG map, and that was always droning out T3 and executing upon T3. Even if you did a small tower execute, you always had to put a drone on T3. Melo's positioning is perfect right now. He is prepared to dish out punishment, especially if the attacking lineup has no idea he's here. But Ghost seems to have some type of inkling, as it's going to be a frag grenade sent out, and a little bit of damage sent out to Melo, only 50%. What the thing is, though, he's wasted 2 minutes, and even if he dies in this situation, it's gonna work out, but he's gonna take somebody down with him. As the gunfight rings out, extra cupcakes removed, your primary fragger no longer in this round.
Bone will also find himself one here as Confused will be down, and they still have Melo in this position. 45, or just about 45 seconds here left to go in this round, and it looks like TB will not be running away with this just yet, because they have Melo here, and Melo will find himself a double, make that possibly a triple, but no! Lean will net himself the kill there, and all of a sudden, with 30 seconds here left, they have to just basically rush into sight, try and get the plant down here. But it doesn't look very likely here, though. 20 seconds here left to go. They're not even going to go for the diffuser. They're just going to push in, possibly find the frags here. And maybe if INC is smart, they'll just play the off angles, force him to come into sight, force that plant down. 10 seconds left. Looks like they're just playing for picks here. And looks like it's going to be going in the way of INC here.
Well, 3 seconds left. You can definitely confirm that as it's a rush on in through sight. Unfortunately, Tactical Banditry, they just don't have the time to be successful. But they did take plenty of bodies down with them, so a valiant execute nevertheless. Now, we're going to be going over to the tertiary bomb site. And where do you elect to go? Well, it's kitchen guaranteed, but do you go over to meeting or do you go over to dorms? And Vial, do you know which site is statistically the best? It's actually meeting hall. And out of 7 competitive maps, this is the most defender-sided site. And just let that sink in. Out of all 7 maps, this is utilizing North American Pro League.
Every single map, you're telling me?
Every single map, this is the most defender sided, and then it's reading room where we just saw in Cafe in game number 5. So the reason it's so defender sided is the attackers really have no avenues to set up really good crossfire. They not only have to do a top-down execute like you would on reading, but their heads against the plethora of utility that's going to be an addict. But as soon as they take T3, 2, and 1, well, the avenues of crossfires just aren't as desirable as possible, especially when you couple it with the clash, very similar to how I and Z played it, or A and Z, pardon me, has played it over the past few months. It's going to be very difficult to execute. And the thing about the other site, which is dining room, there are far too little buff rooms to be successful. When you're doing a small tower execute, you now have so many buffer rooms to work with as a defender, where if you were actually holding in that site, you had no real avenue to maneuver.
I completely understand why it makes sense. It's very, very defender-sided, because look at all these buffer rooms, as you like to call them, that they have to work through. Look at Big Tower that you have to clear. You have to make sure there's no roamers down below, which they have plenty of avenues to get to. You have to make sure there's no one in T3, which, as we saw before, Mello just completely wasted their time and destroyed them by netting himself 2 kills there. So it's going to be actually also a quick take in coming in from TB, as they take most of the north side of the map and Big Tower.
But that's the thing, you're going to have more than just tower if you want to be successful. And you can still see the ideology behind the attacker's setup, and that's Cogent already removed. That is your clash. How on earth did that blunder happen? That is a big mistake, and that is your best rated support player in Season 3. You never see him make mistakes, so it's most likely going to be the only one he's going to make a mistake. At least we hope so if you're a fan of INC. Now, here's the thing. Look at the avenues that the attackers have. It looks like it's going to be a stage plant because of all the utilities set up here.
It definitely looks that way here, and as we see most of their team on this side, we're going to see Suke here possibly go for the Pooter, but he's just not going to be able to find Ghost. And they open up the stage wall now. All of a sudden, you still have a lot of avenues to clear. Mello is still on this top floor here in Attic, and he's gonna have to try and find himself an angle onto this site. Otherwise, TB could just get this plant down for free, but it doesn't even look like they're gonna even focus on this top floor. This could be a huge tactical blunder here from Tactical Banditry.
The thing is, Yusuke's feet might be exposed to the drone hole if he walks any farther forward. He's currently safe where he resides, but if he gets too aggressive, the attackers could punish him out. And this is why the site is so defender-sided. Even though the attackers have done a wonderful job of their time management, there is so little room for them to actually maneuver and set up their crossfires. It becomes very difficult to do so. It's going to be Yusuke. He is the rock for INC. He's going to have to wait for the attackers to get aggressive.
He's going to have to, and I'm going to hand this back. Actually, never mind. The stream is slowly coming back to me. But I'm going to hand this back over to you, Chief, because I do not know what's going on in this right now.
Well, it looks like a flurry of kills are going to roll on through. It looks like the defenders are going to find themselves slightly on the back foot. There's only 12 seconds left in this round. It's GXD. He's stuck in the impossible situation, but Diffuser has been surrendered above the bomb site. I have once again froze. I have no idea what's transpiring, but GXD is going to have to get aggressive. Bomb is almost going down. It's going to be him. He has to use this SMG-11 perfectly, and he will, playing time the way he needs to.
Beautiful, beautiful time. Just, he's able to play time perfectly there coming in, and I believe he was just able to find him planting, which net himself another kill here, and just playing out their time here. And Chief, let's just speak on this INC team right now. A brand new roster, a decorated roster, and let's look at them right now. They're playing fantastically.
And that's exactly what we'd expect. We saw the marriage of the two most successful rosters in Siege Cardinal League history They came together and they made a super roster. Now, Oregon can be a little bit defender-sided, so maybe that's what we're seeing now. And Tactical Banditry is a phenomenal team here. They have taken down some very powerful teams here in Siege Cardinal League. They've taken down Unreal Academy. Actually, sorry, they lost Unreal Academy, but they took down Team Front as well as Powerhouse.
Two big teams here, and while they weren't able to put up the win against Unreal Academy, we still see them completely force the other team to play to their, their whims. They have to completely adapt to how TB want to play here. Now, it looks like they're going to have to try a little harder because InControlNation is just completely dominating them as they complete a full flawless site rotation here. And we don't see that happen a lot, especially not on the new map of Oregon here.
Honestly, I'm glad you touched upon that. The 3-cycle rotation is definitely an enigma, and those opening kills is the wonderful use of that word. Now, your main hard breacher has been removed, but it's also Mellow, the substitute for INC, who's been popping off big, is also out of this round. So how will this pan out? Now, honestly, I think that opening duel is slightly in favor of INC, just simply because a hard breacher has been removed. And remember, those 3 X-Pyro pellets that have been sacrificed, that can be a big deal, especially if you do a bait and switch strategy or rotate the troops over like they did in round number 1.
We're going to see Ghost here just go for this wall, and it's going to get opened up again. But, however, you lose a man already, but that's for both teams. So the man count's pretty even, and we're just going to not see GXD move from this side once again. He's going to get droned out, but a lot of utility is going to be dumped into this side once more. And this is going to be the apex position for INC and TB. TB need to clear out this side if they want to do anything on this attack.
And well, there's going to be a myriad of utilities still flying and trying to push out GXD, but that's something that's very difficult to do. The man will stand and fight, and you never want to be on the receiving end of that rifle or that carbine, however you want to look at it, but it's extra cupcakes. He's going to be the man, the myth, the punish GXD. He's going to continue to push up through. He's going to spot the head of him, and he will actually lose that gunfight. GXD's going to try to attack on the board and find another one, but Lean's going to find 1 and 2 for his own. And that's what we love to see. It's now the defense slightly on the back foot, but they have come back from before, and I love that camaraderie. Nice shots moving out in chat.
It's always nice to see that type of gentleman's sportsmanship as we enter the 25-second mark here. And Suke and Bone are just going to find themselves in a tough spot here, and it's going to fall their way here as Confused and Lean find themselves the last few kills here as TB find themselves their first round on the map.
And ladies and gentlemen, it appears we're having some technical difficulties, so if our audio is just slightly out of sync, we apologize, and we will address that momentarily. But I love the execute coming out by TB. They did a wonderful job of breaking down that offside pressure, finding the opening duel and Mellow, and then working around losing one of your main hard breachers. And that's something I think INC is going to have to be a little bit wary of. They're going to have to basically create avenues of their own to get aggressive if they lose bodies.
They will have to get very aggressive here, and we're going to see them just go for this play once again. And we see INC going for this bottom floor site here. It's going to be very, very powerful here to see if they can play this the same way they did last time here. Maybe delay more and more time as they did last time.
One thing that I always appreciate about InControlNations and teams that are sitting at higher the SEL leaderboard is the fact that when they make a mistake and they lose a round, instead of just repeating that site, they address the site and they go to a site that they currently won. And that's a sign of a really good team. And if you look at any of the teams sitting in top 6 of the SEL leaderboards, they tend to do exactly that. Now, one of the key success factors in round number 2, the last time that we saw Basement, was the fact that Mello was able to sit in T3 and waste, I believe it was like 2 minutes and 15 seconds, which is something that's unheard of. Not only did he do that, but he took 2 bodies down with him before inevitably dying. That is something that most teams can't rely on. But when you're INC, you have such good gunfighters and you just have wonderful communication all around. That's something that you can rely on. But Mello, he might be getting too aggressive. He's making a lot of sound, extra cupcakes, and looming like a shark. But no, there's no execution.
The timing on that, I just don't know any other way to say the timing on that was near perfect, and we're gonna see you get punished for it. Cupcakes, what are you doing? You knew exactly where he was in that timing on that drone, not knowing where he was. He heard him break it down exactly, but he loses that gunfight and engagement on his back, and we're gonna see Mello just trapped in attic right now, and he's gonna probably waste more and more time, as we saw last time he was in T3.
Well, Mello is going to continue to do what he does best, claiming bodies and issuing out those black body bags. He's still going to be looking for more, but he's currently residing in kids' dorms, and it looks like the attackers have no idea that he's up there. But confused, he's going to try to grab control of the map and push in through Bunker, but sadly for him, J Bunker is fully reinforced, so he's now going to have to come through North Door and near this E-Box. With a problem with coming out of E-Box and the vicinity of Boiler is you can get swung on and obliterated, but these X-Kyro pellets will mitigate that position.
We're going to see the slow execute here coming in from the defense here, and there's nowhere really for them to actually cover. We're going to see Lean just throw down the smoke, apply some cover for his teammates here, and Suke is also, I believe, still has 3 smoke canisters, and we're gonna see Mello also go for this flank, and this could be another punish here coming in. He knows exactly where he's gonna find the head of Lean. That's his double kill on the round, and again, Mello just finds a way to punish these attackers. And we're gonna see Ghost find himself one, Phoenix finds himself another. All of a sudden, this round actually looks kind of doable here. And this is going to get down to the last 20 seconds.
Well, Clash is going to unsheath herself and bring out her secondary pistol, but Ghost is going to put a punishment out and an ill-advised aggression, and that might be the undoing of INC in this round. But there's only 10 seconds left. The attackers are going to have to get this bomb down, though, with so little time, and Mello on an absolute tear. It might be impossible. He has 3 kills this round. He's going to try to find out more, but once again, INC plays out time, all off the back of their substitute, Mello.
Somebody lock this man down. You put him on a roam game and he's just gonna punish you. And they knew what happened the first time they went on the basement. He locked down T3, net himself 2 kills, and 2 minutes and 15 seconds. He did the same thing basically, but just ran around, and I'm just surprised that TB didn't want to even lock him down, didn't go on any more roam clears. Granted, that's what cost him last time, but now it cost him again. You can't lock this man down on the roam game.
So, Vial, if you were in INC's positioning, would you elect to go back to the meeting room, a site that you won pretty decisively, or do you go back over to dorms?
Honestly, if you feel confident taking dorms again, because at the end of the day, from what we saw from INC, it looked like they were just taking bad angles and got too aggressive, which played into their loss of that round of dorms. However, they played so well on that meeting kitchen. I think it would have been more worth to go back to that site and maybe apply that pressure. However, it kind of does make sense to go back to the site that they almost won last time, because the way they won that map that site of kitchen and meeting was simply because of that beautiful play from GXT. And we see Asuke here. He's going to be running around basically in place, and he might just get dropped here from the server, which could be a rehost coming very soon here, as he's just, oh, never mind, he's back, and he's perfectly fine.
Well, Yusuke returns from the Shadow Realm as he was flirting with death and the death of the server. But hello, it is Bone sitting on T3. He's going to get thrown out and forced away. But this could have been absolutely detrimental to Tactical Banditry, but they learned their lesson from early on. And that, again, is a sign of a good team. It's going to be Bone finding one. Will he attempt the second? He's going to think better about his life and rotate away. Extra Cupcakes is now removed. But Lean always seems to be on these refrags. And that's a sign of a wonderful support player as well. Always stepping up when your team needs them.
That is one of the many reasons why support players are there. They're there to just peek the angles after you lose them, if you lose them. But we're also going to see this roam game coming in from Bone, who I believe is in meeting right now, who could punish this team. And he is in meeting as of right now, and he could easily just go for this flank once again. And this roam game is just playing significant in this INC defense, and is punishing TB to pretty much every single degree here.
One thing that I'm going to be a little critical of TB is the fact that they're not bringing enough flashbangs to break down this setup. When you execute here, we tend to see a lot of rosters doing these 9 utility devices, whatever you want to call them, whether it's frag grenades, whether it's the lifelines, or whether it's stun grenades. We tend to see rosters doing exactly that, but we don't really see that coming out of TB.
We don't really. And another thing that we also don't see is them winning their gunfights as of right now, as GXC is going to find himself another onto Phoenix, and all of a sudden, with 45 seconds here left to go and only Big Tower to work with, it's going to be very, very difficult for this TB team to go. We're going to see the peak come in here, and they know exactly where they are. 30 seconds here left to play here. And it just doesn't look like GXC is going to... Actually, GXC is going to find himself down as he gets down here from Lean, but Kojin there for the refrag onto Lean. And all of a sudden, it looks damn near impossible for this TB attack, especially because he's probably just going to save himself for the stats and a tactical timeout, maybe. But no, he's going to find himself as... Oh, that's just nasty with that pistol peek.
Well, Yusuke is going to type in chat that it was his first kill, and that was pretty gnarly, Yusuke, so wonderful job to you. Now, it's going to be INC now on attack. How will this fare out? Well, Mello does love his Ashe, and he does love getting aggressive with Ashe, and as I mentioned that, he is going to click on Mouse 1 and bring over the Ashe. Now, we have seen Bone on Cali before, and with some mixed results, we've seen it especially in his postseason when they ended up losing against Unreal Nightmare. But the thing with Cali, though, is it's kind of a loose cannon. You really have to play and hit your shots correctly. I do love Habana Thermite coming out. We did see Maverick, and we saw Tactical Banditry use Maverick, and they used Maverick brilliantly. They've been a team that's known for their wonderful uses of Maverick, and maybe INC isn't comfortable with it, or maybe Dash and Hawk has created a strategy and an idea that we have yet really to come through.
Another thing about the Cali, or as I like to call her, the Op, we're bringing the Op from CSGO into Siege now, and it's like you said, you have to hit your shots if you're playing Cali. You have to be able to at least land a shot, and clearly if you're bringing her, especially on Bone, you have to feel at least a little confident that your player can hit that.
That is true, and Bone was the highest rated player in Season 3, so if anybody's going to be landing shots, it's going to be him. Now, in Season 3, he had the most opening duels by 18. Not that he had 18 duels, that he led the next highest person by 18 opening kills. That is a mind-blowing statistic. Now, sadly, that didn't transpire in postseason, but in regular season, that man was unstoppable, and hopefully he's able to continue that here in season number 3. Now, it's going to be confused trying to do his best impression of Mello. Now, hopefully the attacking lineup of INC is able to break down the same strategy that they utilized. what I said earlier is still important. You have to drone out top tower, exactly like you used to do on the OG Oregon.
We're going to see the peak come in here, and Confuse is actually going to be able to down GXD, but he doesn't know that as of yet. And he's very, very low here if he's able to peek, but Suke's going to be able to find him as he's going to get GXD back on his feet. And that's going to give the advantage to INC here. Now, all of a sudden, it looks very likely. Also, we haven't even touched on this. They're up 5-1 here, INC. This new fangled roster that is just star-studded, all of a sudden could find themselves in match point if they win one round.
But the thing is, though, it might be a 5-1 lead for InControlNation, but it really doesn't feel like it. Tactical Banditry has been playing phenomenally, and way better than what 5-1 says, and it's Mellow dishing out absolute punishment as its ghost removed from this lobby, and that's also going to be a set of Nitro cells surrendered for free. Now, the attackers do have an extreme man advantage, but GXD is on low health, and he cannot be downed again. Mellow's going to find his second kill this round. He's going to be tacking on for more with the elevated position. Might work out for Valkyrie as it's now lean off the board, and Phoenix is going to have to come out. He's got the clutch ace. He's found two. He's going to be attempting third with Kojin bringing the bomb down, the wide swing coming out. It might be the undoing of Valkyrie, and indeed it is. Mellow with the 3K and InControlNation on match point.
Somebody lock this man down. Put him in a cage. He's an animal. What is going on with Mellow? He, as some would say, what are they feeding these boys over there? He is just going on a tear right now. And like you said, TB has been able to keep these rounds close, and it's been a very close game here. We're on match point here for this brand new roster for INC.
And again, Tactical Banditry is playing really well. Like, way better than 6-1 is showing.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's just InControlNation. They're just winning their gunfights. Like, Tactical Banditry has good mechanics. They have good strategies, but Mellow just clicks heads at the end of the day. And to remind you, Mellow is a substitute. Sherbull is the primary player, or Mr. Billionaire, as I love to call him. I know he always gets angry of that, but he has the coolest name when it's Mr. Billionaire, so I know he's watching right now. So sorry for always calling you by the wrong name. But here we go. It is InControlNation. They are on match point. But this is still a defender-sided map, and I can promise you this. Tactical Banditry is a roster you can never cut down, you can never shut down until it's over.
I won't disagree with you there, but the only thing I have to disagree with you or give a counterpoint, we're seeing possibly the emergence of a very, very strong roster here. This was announced about a day or two ago. We see just a plethora of players come in here, and if you're INC, you have to be feeling strong. You have to be feeling on top of the world right now, because as a brand new roster, you're up 6-1 against a team that is debatably one of the strongest teams in this league. And
now
continue. Go ahead, Chief.
I do want to highlight Lean, though. He's on support operators, and he's already dropped his pin bomb, as it's just going to be Mellow finding one. He's going to find two, but his punishment is instantaneous. Like, as the MX Storm's going to step up, but Bo's going to refrag it. Oh my lord, this might be the end of the round. It's INC. They're utilizing their guns perfectly. It's now this 2v4. A frag grenade goes out. It's another player drop. The man with the 10 bomb is now out of this round. It's just confused. He is stuck literally in a hole. There is nowhere for him to go. He does have pings and he does have information, but I don't think he's long for this world. The crossfire is established and his life is forfeit. That is a 7-1 victory. We're InControlNation. The new super roster is dishing punishment.
Super roster indeed. We just saw literally, I think, probably one of the strongest showings of a new roster in this league. Just in general, how they've just been on a tear through TB. And TB, like you said, they were playing very well throughout this match. They are a very good team, but INC dismantled them, and Mellow, an absolute beast, just tore through them with 12 kills.
Well, it is going to be the MVP of Season 3 joining us in the casting booth. Mr. GXD is here. He is once